Hamlet is a very well-read rhetorical student. Sort of like in Dante, Dante dealt an awful lot with rhetoric and the classical framing of how to make an argument and how to convince people, and a lot of that is wrapped up in what is called the rule of threes, and a lot of that under a Christian topic will of course become the Trinity. So the Christian and the classical come together to tell you that 3 is a big number for convincing someone. And when Hamlet is referencing 3 times this, words, it's him using classical rhetoric. And rhetoric, like all language, words, is constantly being held up as a kind of signal that it's not necessarily sincere, not necessarily authentic. One of my favorite bits of the Bertolucci film that we saw the little clip of comes right, I think it's right, he messed around with the ending, but when Hamlet, or with the order of the scene sometimes, Bertolucci had he's a little full of himself. He just died though. When Hamlet comes across Ophelia and they have one of their big scenes together, really their biggest scene, which was, I think, right after the To Be or Not to Be. He comes across her. She has been instructed by her father to read on this book and appear like something so that he won't think that, you know, you're distracted, whatever. Pretend, appear to be reading. All of those cues going on. And so you have the actress, and I think in that version it's Kate Winslet. I could be wrong about that. She's going along and she's pretending to be reading. And Hamlet, Mel Gibson, better casting than I would have given him credit for. He comes up and he reads it, or he sees her reading, and, you know, he just takes the book and turns it upside down because she had been reading it upside down, which means she wasn't reading at all. The appearance doesn't match the reality. And the falseness of that kind of surface interpretation, the inherent lie that is language representing truth, which is the entire production value of Shakespeare. He is constantly pointing at, he's constantly undercutting, he's constantly reminding you that no matter what I say about the falsity of words and the appearance and how we all need to be authentic, guess what? This is all a lie. This is all an illusion. This is all pretend. Nothing here is real. He's constantly doing that. And the number 3 popping up again and again and again in Hamlet's speeches is an indication of that, because he thinks in really elaborate language that is itself him sort of lying to himself. When I look at To Be or Not to Be, or some of the other longer soliloquies, he tends to, as I try and emphasize, strip some of that away. He'll still be dealing with images, he'll still be dealing with symbols, he'll still be dealing with a very rich language, but it's much more elemental, it's much more basic. It's not so surface. So when he starts coming at you with some stuff that is very performative, and I would argue that everything that he does with Ophelia is extremely that way, where it's constantly images and poetry and rhetorical devices all over the place, and it's hard to figure out what the hell's going on. It's really because he's just firing at them, one after the other, and it ends up meaning nothing. Again, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Shakespeare is conscious of this. He's using every tool in his toolbox to fire these thoughts at you. And if you think you've got a handle on it, you're probably wrong, because he's always got the next step. And there are no easy answers. There are no answers, period, because his mind, more than anyone else, but he would argue just like everyone else, is infinite. That make sense?